I'm just kidding. We're not doing that fucking intro again. We're not doing that. Sorry. Yeah. So I guess I got it's not a strike. I didn't get a copyright strike, but I got, that's what they do. If it's copyright protected, um a lot of times they'll just cut off your stream. I don't think it was her who did it. Like before rumors get started that Wendy Murphy like purposely struck my channel or something. That's not what happened. Like the content was copyright protected, and there's a mechanism that takes place that if anybody's streaming it, their stream will get sniped and cut off. So it's to be expected from time to time. I even kind of expected it because I wasn't sure. I was just like, I don't even know what the fuck this is. But I don't think that'll happen with this one. So I don't know what this is. So let's just see. I just looked her up on YouTube, but a lot of stuff seems like it would be copyright protected. So I'm not going to fuck with it.
After hosting Greater Boston for the past 18 years, I'll be stepping away from the anchor desk in just about 5 weeks. And before I go, we're inviting people back on the show who have special perspectives and who have elevated the discourse over the years. We're calling it the Greater Boston version of Emily's List. My guest tonight is never at a loss for words and has no shortage of opinions, which is just one of the reasons I like her so much. Wendy Murphy, who's an adjunct professor of sexual violence law at the New England Law School in Boston and a fierce advocate for women and children, is here. And welcome to you.
Thank you. I know this is your show, but I just have to say, I'm so sad to see you go. We desperately have loved having you. And I think you've been one of the most important voices, especially outside the left-right paradigm. You just always get at the truth. And we need that. And we're going to miss that. And I'm so sad to see you go.
It's interesting. I was going to ask you about your political persuasion, because I think a lot of people assume because of your advocacy positions that you're, very, very liberal. But I happen to know that's not actually true.
Yeah, no, I'm fiercely nonpartisan because sometimes when it comes to violence against women and children, sometimes the left gets a good idea. Sometimes the right gets a good idea. But I learned a long time ago that, especially when it comes to sexual violence, access to women, sexual access to women is a bipartisan entitlement, and it's well protected by both sides of the ideological aisle. So I'm careful to resist marching like a lemon behind any leadership that's on that left-right pattern.
I was thinking the same shit. Like, oh, here we go.
In particular, many of the anti-violence groups that would call themselves establishment or leadership, and I mean in all states, not just Massachusetts, they really are political. They're either left or right, most often left, and I think that makes them useless, frankly, because then then they don't challenge the status quo. They just be they're pushing crumbs around on a mostly empty plate, and they don't have big ideas. And I find that just a tremendous waste of time and a sad waste of usually some very good resources. Very good, well-intentioned people waste their lives.
So where do you come down on this new system that a lot of colleges have put in place, reporting systems for sexual abuse and rape? I mean, has
Wendy,
that
you're on TV
as well, or is that a genuine effort to be more transparent?
Again, I think it's probably a little bit of both. Some really good people at some major universities want the problem to be addressed in a certain way and are being precluded from doing that for political reasons. And I don't mean, Democrat, Republican political, I mean basic power issues. And it's been a really important part of my activism as an academic activist or impact litigator for a very long time. I've always had my eyes on colleges because I think if you fix especially the highest ranking.
You've been talking about Harvard for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that I don't like them. I mean, my husband went there. I studied there for a year. I think when you're in a position of authority like that, when you change how you do business, it trickles down really well, and it does change the world. So I have targeted them to some extent. The thing about Harvard is they are also fiercely protective of their integrity. So it's easy for them to choose the path of least resistance. Well, if we don't admit that we have a big sexual assault problem, if we don't allow for accountability and oversight and transparency, people will think it's a safe place to be for women, when in fact my experience, and there's no data for
But that's not true though. Like, people take sexual assault very seriously. What is she talking about? I mean, is she really sitting here trying to sell this bit that fucking nobody gives a fuck about sexual assault or their victims? That's not true. That is not true. What are you talking about? I got to hear that again because I can't believe my fucking ears. Hold on.
I don't mean, Democrat, Republican political, I mean basic power issues. And it's been a really important part of my activism as an academic activist or impact litigator for a very long time. I've always had my eyes on colleges because I think if you fix especially the highest ranking.
You've been talking about Harvard for 20 years.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not that I don't like them. I mean, my husband went there. I studied there for a year. I think when you're in a position of authority like that, when you change how you do business, it trickles down really well, and it does change the world. So I have targeted them to some extent. The thing about Harvard is they are also fiercely protective of their integrity. So it's easy for them to choose the path of least resistance. Well, if we don't admit that we have a big sexual assault problem, if we don't allow for accountability and oversight and transparency, people will think it's a safe place to be for women, when in fact my experience.
Oh, okay. I guess she's talking about Harvard. Okay. All right. See, I'm glad I rewinded it because I don't want to be unfair, So she's saying that Harvard is not admitting that they have a sexual assault problem. I guess. But I mean, isn't that like every college? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to minimize the problem. That's not what I'm trying to do. Before anybody jumps to that conclusion, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm saying it's a major fucking problem. But I'm saying it's not. Why are you like using that to target Harvard? You know what I mean?
There's no data for this, but my experience is that there's far more sexual assault at the Ivy Leagues and at the elite schools, probably because the guys there are more entitled than the guys at the lower tier schools.
So, Wendy, I think I've told you this before, but I'm just going to put it out there.
You know,
too.
I was gonna fucking drag this lady, but I agree with her on that. I totally agree with her.
You are the single most polarizing guest we've ever had on the show.
Thank you.
See, that's what I was going to ask you. We get more email, pro, con. You prompt, requested responses. Somebody would say, send us your emails. Oh no, we don't have to say send us your email.
Yeah, I like to hear that because I'm a reformer and I believe in women's equality, and we're nowhere near the goal I have set for my work. And if I don't provoke people, if I just become part of that, let's be nice, let's play nice in the sandbox, let's have more meetings about more meetings and do prevention, education, and so forth. I'll be dead.
Like, dude, I agree, man. Listen, a woman should absolutely be paid the same fucking way that a man if they're doing the same job. If she can do the job just as effectively as the man, then she should get equal pay. There's no doubt in my mind about it. And if she's the most qualified person for the job, then give her the job. But this is, I've worked a lot of places. Never seen that kind of discrimination. Like, so little of this that I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm saying that I just don't think that it's the problem that she's trying to make it out to be. That's what I'm saying. I'm not minimizing the problem. I'm minimizing her perspective on it. Because I just don't see, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know anybody. I honestly don't know any decent manager of any business. And I mean any business, right? Who thinks in that way. You know what I mean? Like, I have worked under women who are making an incredibly fair amount of money, no more than any man in her same position, and doing a kick-ass job. And I was happy to work under. I felt like she, I mean, I've had shitty bosses, but it's not because they were women. I've had men that were shitty bosses. But at no point was I ever like, oh my God, if only this person was a man, my life at this job would be so much easier. I've never thought that. I've never heard anybody say that shit out loud. In all the jobs I've had throughout the years. I mean, I've been working since Jesus Christ. I mean, that's crazy. I've been working for fucking close to 3 decades. I mean, I've never seen, and I've seen issues like where they discuss it on TV. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen that, but her going on this, it sounds like she's trying to perpetuate something that's not silly to me, man.
Be dead 6 times over and we'll get nothing done. So I try to provoke people as a strategy. I try to make people get outside of their comfort zone. I love saying that. I want to make people uncomfortable on purpose because then they don't think differently, right? It's so easy to keep doing the same thing.
That's being provocative.
And if we do that,
that's being provocative. That's a great way to get any narrative across that you're trying to push.
on behalf of victimized women and children, we're going to see the same numbers, which we do keep seeing. I mean, what is it that we keep spending all this money on prevention and education, and the numbers are still the same? Obviously, prevention and education isn't good enough. It would be nice, for example, in Massachusetts, if we could just add gender to the list of hate crimes. Right now, we live in this crazy place where every category of type of human is listed, except gender. We even have transgender, but not regular gender. That's outrageous.
The Newton fire chief, if people don't know that. How did you get to this place? Where did this passion come from?
I'm probably the most typical accidental activist because I didn't sign up for this. But when I got my first job as a lawyer, I was an assistant DA in Middlesex County. And, maybe because it's just in my nature to be, challenging, maybe curious is a better word.
I think that's what probably happened.
Judges and
I don't know.
Especially in sex crimes cases.
I don't know. I think, but that's probably what happened is probably she, like, as a lawyer, advocated for somebody and then saw that she could, like, make a name for herself doing it and then just calling herself an advocate and just like making TV appearances and shit so she can sell books. Like it's not that's not activism, man. That's self-promotion. That's not activism. It's self-promotion. I mean, like, if you're sitting there peddling shit that people just want to fucking hear, like, I mean, I already know that there's a problem with discrimination, and I already know that there's a problem with sexual assault, and it angers me. It genuinely does. It makes me upset. It bothers me to know that these things take place. But are you creating awareness? Because you're not, because I already know, and I already know it's wrong, and I already know, like, it makes me mad. So what are you, like, advocating that I do exactly? Besides be aware of it and, if I see the shit happen, report it. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the grand scheme of what she's doing is. You know what I mean? Like, what can I do besides what I already am doing? Like, if I'm buying her book, it's just because I'm like, man, I know this is happening and it's, and so I'm gonna, I'm just gonna like listen, to somebody else say the same things that I think and validate my opinions. That's what she exists for, is to validate people's opinions who feel strongly against women being discriminated against. Because she's not fixing the problem of discrimination. She's not preaching to anybody. She's not making people aware that there's a problem of discrimination. Anybody with common sense, is going, well, yeah, and so, that's why they have an HR section in every office to ensure that it doesn't happen. It's just very like, why do I need you if I have HR? You know what I mean? If I don't have HR, then I probably don't have a job. And so why do I need you if I don't have a job? What do I need you for? I don't understand.
Cases and child abuse cases, why are you doing that to this victim? You don't do that to the bank robbery witnesses or, the victims of armed assault or whatever. Why are you doing this offensive thing to this victim, whether it was access to her counseling records or requiring her to answer ridiculous questions? Your Honor, that's not fair. And one judge after another would say, Ms. Murphy, you are the government. Your job is to state the law, not complain about it.
She stuck to that.
And I was like, maybe I need another job.
Thank you for being on Emily's list.
Thank you.
You just said yourself that's what you do, is you complain about it. I mean, I could sit here and complain about, fucking abortion all goddamn day. You know what I mean? But that's not going to do nothing. Dude, and everybody that I've known personally that was like super ultra passionate to the point that they were just fucking preachy about it, and that was their whole lifestyle. Like, dude, I lived with fucking PETA people for a while. You guys realize at this point we're just fucking kicking it right now, right? Like, there's no agenda here anymore. We're just hanging out. So like, I lived with PETA people, bro. And these were the most preachiest, most fucking annoying people that I've ever been around. Right? But it was fascinating to be around them, though. You know, it was absolutely fascinating. Like, one person, she was like high up there too, man. She like went to college and then she got this job working for PETA because she was like an ultra like animal advocate. But it's just, it was, the thing was, is I knew her from church when I was a kid, you know, and like I ended up getting like realizing that she was just like, she was full of shit. She was full of shit. She had a cat in the fucking house that wasn't neutered. You know what I mean? Like, it was her cat. The cat wasn't fucking neutered. You know? And she worked for PETA. Like, high up. The cat pissed on my leg when I would sleep. It was annoying. And like, and I'd listen to these people talk, man. I would just listen to these phony motherfuckers just spin yarns, dude. Like they would sit there and talk about, you know, I mean, and I'm talking like borderline terroristic shit, you know, no actual like plans or anything like that. I didn't overhear any of that shit, but we would go out to the fucking pub and get drunk, her and her fucking PETA co-workers, and they were kind of fun to hang out with, but they were all so fucking wacky, dude, because they would sit there and talk about how they hated humans and how, you know, every man should be neutered, you know, every woman should be fucking, like, it was crazy. But they're all just sitting around drinking and everybody's hanging out at somebody's house. It's like, if you hate people so fucking much, why do all of you feel the need to be around so many of them all the time? They were the most social fucking people I'd ever seen. We went out almost every night. You know what I mean? Like, not only would we hang out with each other, but we would hang out in crowds in public places. You know what I mean? Like, so I'd just be sitting there going like, this is the most full of shit bunch of people I've ever seen in my fucking life. Never seen anything like it. You know? And everybody who's, dude, because the thing is nobody is that, unless you're just obsessive. Unless you're just obsessive and you need to be locked up somewhere, then you're not that passionate about something, you know? Like where you make a fucking name for yourself. You don't really care that much. It takes too much energy to care about yourself and your image and how it's making you look. It takes too much energy for you to do that than to be that passionate as you're coming off. The energy is going into the coming off part, not the actual passion. So you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't buy this whole feminism thing from Wendy Murphy. Like, I feel like she does it for the same reason Coffindoffer does what she does, just to show up on TV and be heard, you know? Like, how else am I supposed to take that when you don't make any sense? You know what I mean? Like, if she's that vocal on Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Like, here, let me finish reading Coffindoffer's thing here. She says, she hit him, she hit him, she hit him. As the court documents demonstrate, and as she herself said, that will be the testimony. As for those who want to think this is about me being right or wrong, please, this is so shallow. This isn't my concern in any case. Funny how she says this after what I was just talking about. I call balls and strikes as we cuss and discuss crime. It's great for all to have an opinion, but this isn't about us on Twitter, for heaven's sake. Then why are you so active on it? Because I feel that way. I don't think it's about us on Twitter at all. But you know how I know that I don't really feel that I honestly feel that way? Because you don't see me post that much on Twitter. I'll repost stuff, I'll follow stuff, I'll read stuff, but I won't subscribe to Twitter to where I have to pay this insane monthly amount only to have enough room to be able to write these long, fucking ridiculous Plevin, Grant, and Coffindoffer fucking tweets. You know what I mean? Like, it's just social media and I use it. But how you know that I'm not that worried about Twitter is I'm not posting the things that the amount that Coffindoffer is posting. If I see something that I feel like needs to be shown and it's like got a screenshot that's basically proof, then I'll share it, you know? And sometimes I'll just share something that's funny. But I won't, like, you know what I mean? Like, I won't sit there and act like what goes on Twitter has anything to really do with the case, because it really doesn't. It doesn't at all. It's just, to me, it's a discussion forum. Nothing more, you know? Nothing beyond a simple discussion forum where you can post pics, you could be funny, you could be sarcastic, you can even be mean. But, I mean, there's hardly any of that on my end. I don't really, you know? I think the worst thing I did was talk about Grant's weed smoking anal issue. But yeah, it's silly to me that Coffindoffer thinks of it that way, but that's because Coffindoffer needs relevance so bad. Yeah, that's another point that I didn't make. Like, you know, as far as what Wendy Murphy was talking about, like that's, you know, I've never come across a manager that was like, you know, not thinking on the sense of that manager makes bonuses, dude. You know what I mean? If somebody comes along that happens to be a woman and that person is going to produce to the point to where, like, let's say there's an area supervisor and that they need, for this location of whatever business it is, a general manager to run everything, the ins and outs, everything, right? Well, I mean, you just want someone who's capable of doing the job, because as an area supervisor, you're going to get bonuses based on that person's performance. You're not going to sit there and go, you know what, fuck my bonus because I'd rather give that job to a man. No, dude. That area supervisor's probably got kids. You know what I mean? A family. You got to make that money. Right, because the best person available is going to produce the most profit. That's the whole point. And she always does this. This isn't about Twitter, for heaven's sake. This is about justice for Officer O'Keefe and his family. They all believe she hit him. Make no mistake. That doesn't mean that he's getting justice. That's going to be that's the pill that's the hardest to swallow, folks, in this whole thing. She goes on to say if they thought the party had killed him, they would be rallying around Karen Read, who stands accused of second-degree murder. They aren't. So she's basing Karen's guilt on how John O'Keefe's family feels about it. That's what she's doing. She's like, that's not responsible. That's not a responsible thing for a former FBI investigator to say on social media in public. That's not responsible. To try to enforce your narrative by applying the so-called logic, because it's not logic, but you're presenting it as logic, that the reason why it's best to make sense that Karen Read is guilty is because the family, John O'Keefe's family, the victim's family, believes that she is. That's no reason to base anything. The evidence is what dictates that. And everything that she says here in this thing is stuff that the defense can poke holes through in a second. In an absolute second. The bottom line here is that John O'Keefe's family deserves justice, and they want justice so bad. And I don't know. I don't know. But the hardest pill to swallow here is that John O'Keefe's family and how they feel versus what the evidence tells us. Well, it kind of makes it difficult to weigh them in as credible based on Jennifer Coffendorfer's logic. She's trying to say that because the family doesn't think so, but if the family is willing to ignore just straight evidence, then how am I supposed to, and I don't know what evidence they're ignoring. I don't know the details. I don't know the nature as to why they truly believe that Karen Read is guilty. I could speculate on it. I could say that, well, they're a cop family. Their son was a cop, and they don't want to think that cops are dirty. They don't want to think that people in the same profession as the son that they were proud of were capable of doing this to a brother in blue and then covering it up and then framing an innocent woman. They don't want to believe that. That's what I would think. But but the bottom line here is that the evidence dictates that there's something very wrong here. That this family was, in fact, victimized by the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office and the Massachusetts State Police. And that is because they conducted a faulty investigation that could easily be thrown out of court. That is the issue here. The issue is that whoever killed John O'Keefe, we may never actually know definitively beyond a reasonable doubt due to the investigation conducted by the Massachusetts State Police and the Norfolk County DA's office. That is how John O'Keefe's family is being victimized. Make no mistake about that. Clover found a box. Yeah, make absolutely no mistake about it. Give me 1 second, guys. You see, the fact is that John O'Keefe's family may never get justice, because if charges are never brought up on the people responsible for John O'Keefe's death, and let's say Karen Read is responsible, let's just say I'm still open to the very, very minimal, slight possibility that she's guilty. I'm still open to that. I don't believe it, but I'm still open to it. It's irresponsible and unrealistic to not be until trial happens, or it's dismissed, because I'm going to call it right there. If the case is thrown out, if the state or the U.S. Attorney's Office is like, nope, this isn't moving forward, this is done, then okay, Karen Read is absolutely innocent as far as I'm concerned. But the thing is the issue, and people are saying, well, you know, these people who are protesting and parading outside and making a circus out of this case, the people of Canton and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts who are crowding around, making signs and protesting, and yelling at the witnesses and blah, blah, blah. These people are a menace to the whole thing, right? And they should be absolutely ashamed, because it's disrespectful to John O'Keefe's family, because John O'Keefe's family feels that justice is being served in Karen Read being implicated in this. But the thing is, and this again is a very hard pill to swallow, this isn't just about John O'Keefe's family. I said that. It's not just about John O'Keefe's family, because it is about the people that are rallying. Because Karen Read is all of us. Karen Read is everybody in Massachusetts. John O'Keefe, his family, everyone in Massachusetts. Now, that's John O'Keefe's that's his family's prerogative to believe what they want to believe, to have faith in whatever they choose to have faith. That is their prerogative, and I will not fault them for that. But I also will not be gaslighted into making it out to be like I have no empathy for them because I believe that Karen Read is innocent, because that's just simply not true. I will not be virtue signaled in that way. I will not be, because I am simply looking at the facts and the evidence. And that is what has made my current opinion on Karen Read's innocence. So by using John O'Keefe's family, because they don't believe that Karen Read is innocent, by using them and saying that it's disrespectful to them to not support the Commonwealth in what they're doing, no, it's not disrespectful to them. Because all of those people, make no mistake, yes, they're out there to support Karen Read. And yes, they're out there to support John O'Keefe's family, believe it or not. They are. But they're out there mostly to support them and theirs. And I'm not saying that because it's shitty. I'm not saying that because it's some sort of flaw in those protesters' character. I'm saying it's what they should be doing. It's their right. It's their responsibility. It's their civic duty to be out there and fight for their rights, to make sure that the people who supposedly provides the blanket of safety for them in their community is doing their job in order to produce that. Excuse me. So I just don't want to hear that shit about John O'Keefe's family being disrespected unless people are directly disrespecting them and saying shitty things to them. Okay, you know, that shit's not okay. Fair enough. I mean, let's look at this here. Let's look at something here real quick. There's something that this lady posted. Here we go. Let me show this real quick. So this is Jennifer McCabe leaving the courthouse yesterday. Okay.
Jen, slow down. It's not funny, kid.
You're a murderer, and then someone said disgusting slime. Yeah, this is from Krusty, her Twitter. And then this happens too.
It's not funny, kid. Hey, fuck.
What did she say? What?
It's not funny, kid. Hey, fuck up. Hey, you fuck yourself. Oh, that was a good one.
I don't know what she said. But here she says the Kara Reed supporters are absolute animals, jeering and insulting strangers on a Thursday afternoon for no reason. I mean, it's not no reason. And they're not strange. Well, one of them's a stranger, and I'm not justifying it because you wouldn't see me doing that. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not gonna go and scream in someone's face and call them a disgusting pig and a murderer. I'm just not gonna do that. But it's just very it's very hypocritical for this mass hole mafia person to post this and say that people are disgusting when this Grant dude did the very same thing to Karen Reed. And just because she's accused, it doesn't make her guilty. Sorry, I'm just looking at chat. Rob Page, I mean, that's not exactly true. You know, I mean, the shit that I see on Twitter is pretty fucking like, you know, it's pretty out there, man. You know, and it's pretty loud and disgusting. But it's like the things that I see, it's like, well, this pattern that I see is like you have people who use their real names who support Karen Read, and then they get doxxed and harassed and insulted and trashed by a bunch of people who think Karen Read is guilty and hide under fake accounts. You know, what am I supposed to think? What am I supposed to think? If I'm an outsider looking in, what am I supposed to think? And I'm not saying that people who support Karen Read aren't doing a lot of the same things. But I mean, right. I mean, see, I'm not sweating like getting doxxed because and lies being spread about me. Every time I get this involved in a case, this happens. You know, like, does this fucking dickhead who's doing it to me like think he's the first one to do it to me? You know what I mean? Like, it's happened so many times before. Like, you really think this is my first fucking rodeo, man? You know? Like, you think you're the first person to spread lies about me? You know? All that tells me is that when you feel the need to do that, and I'm not doing that with anybody, I'm not going after anybody's personal life and saying like digging deep about child custody stuff and I don't do that shit. I don't give a fuck about that stuff. You know, like the fact that that's somebody's concern, you know, is where we get off the rails. That's where we get off track, you know, is when we start talking about people's, like, you know, what kind of, you know, why they got fired from their job before, and, you know, how many times, you know, they got somebody pregnant, or how many times they were pregnant, or, you know, that's the stuff that like gets us off the rails, man. That's the stuff that makes us, you know, look not credible. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, everyone's fucking doing it. And, you know, like, you can't sit there. Like, it's just so funny to me because, like, now Grant is now being sought as the victim because what? Tom chased him down and made jokes about his bloody asshole. You know what I mean? Like, would I have done that? No, I wouldn't have done that. But, you know, I mean, you live and you learn. Dude, you know what happened to me? There was a case I was following. I did something really stupid when I first started on YouTube. I didn't know what to make of it. And I looked at cases a lot differently too. I fell under that same syndrome of everybody else who looks at these cases like they're just, you know, like the people involved in these cases are like characters on TV or characters in a fucking movie. You know what I mean? I didn't really give them and the people involved, and not even, and just the people who are just kind of involved, like the kind of respect that they needed. And there was one dude who I felt like at the time they were capitalizing off a family member's tragedy financially. And then I got a hold of a picture, And I didn't know that it was sent around in private. I thought it was a very public thing. It didn't really show anything, but I got a hold of a picture of this person in a very compromised position. And it was, you know, it was obvious that the position was compromised, but it didn't actually like show anything. And I made a meme out of it. Right. And then but it was crazy because the second that I made the meme and then I posted it in a private Facebook group on a thread, the second I did it, I went delete, you know, and I was like, well, wait a minute, you know, let me think that through, you know, because I was only concerned about how funny it was. And then as soon as that happened, I deleted it immediately. No one saw it. The meme never showed up anywhere else ever. And the only reason anyone ever even knew about it is because I told the people in the private chat that shared it with me what had happened. But I didn't know that the picture was some sort of private thing that nobody, you know, that wasn't public already. I didn't know this. It turned out that this person was actually planning on using the picture as some sort of leverage against somebody who was a family member of a murder victim, you know? And then that experience right there woke me the fuck up, made me go, oh shit, you know, I need to like really, I need to change my perspective on how I look at these cases and the people involved in these cases. And that was when I very first started on YouTube. And then after that, you know, I started pretty much just like going after people who treated victims' families with any disrespect at all. And I distanced myself from that creator because I found out this person, I started with this person, but then I started to realize what they were about, what they were doing. And then I was just like, I don't want nothing to do with this person. But the thing is, you know, Tom doing what he did, I don't think that he was thinking on the level of, oh, I'm going to humiliate Grant. I think he was thinking, well, you know what? I'm going to give him a piece of a taste of his own medicine. I'm going to try to teach this guy a little something, that what he was doing was fucked up. Like he just totally ran up on this woman and started throwing insane accusations at her, accusations that were not true. And so it felt like Tom was just kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to give him a little taste of his own medicine. How does he like it if I chase after him with a camera and start fucking throwing these cheap jabs at him? You know? And then all of a sudden, for some reason, you know, like now granted, I don't think that it's, I feel like if I'm Tom, I would look at that as like, all right, well, all right. I mean, I could probably do something better than that. You know what I mean? But we live and we learn. Tom isn't like some seasoned fucking YouTuber. He's a guy that just goes out there, shares his passion with a community of people, documents this passion from everyone else, and then, you know, he let his emotions that he has in that, you know, dictate his actions for a minute there. And I think that just makes him human. The question is whether or not Tom will learn from it, you know? But people being like, oh, that's an embarrassment to the movement. It's like, dude, you know, it's easy for you to do that because Tom isn't anonymous. You know, it's easy for you to do that and point the finger at Tom and say that he's acting a fool because he's not anonymous and that he's out there with a camera. But, you know, why aren't the people who are hiding behind sock accounts on Twitter, who are doing much worse, attacking people's jobs, attacking people's, you know, family life, if they have custody issues, and getting involved in that kind of fucking shit, and, you know, getting involved in people's real life? Like, why is what Tom just did to somebody who uses a platform to lie on people, all of a sudden the biggest embarrassment to this whole movement. Like it's silly. To me, it's just silly. You know, it's really not. And, you know, it's okay to disapprove of it, sure. But, you know, if you're going to like, all I'm saying is if you're going to trash Tom for it, you know, at least take into consideration all of the positive things that he's done for those people who schedule days off from their job, spend money out of their pocket to make t-shirts, buy a flag for everyone to sign, you know, make signs, you know what I mean? Like, and for Tom to like goes out there filming the whole time, barely knowing what he's doing with it, but just capturing it so that if the world gets to see it, they'll be inspired by the same things that inspire him. So like, if you're going to like criticize Tom for what he did, fair enough. Cool. That's fine. But let's not forget all of the other stuff that Tom does and why Tom was out there in the first place. Because I'm not going to just sit here and let some, you know, trolls on Twitter spin the narrative that Tom was out there just to harass Grant, because that's not what happened. And I'm not going to let anyone minimize what he was doing out there to dissolve it to just that, because it's just not true. You know, you got some of the best footage of Karen walking up the steps. You know what I mean? Like, so I for me, just for better peace of mind, it just makes me feel better to be grateful for the stuff to me that outweighs that one very minor action towards somebody who there's no reason to feel guilty about doing what Tom did to. You know, there's no sympathy from me going to Grant, dude. There's just not. Sorry, you know. So, I mean, that's my position on the whole Tom and Grant thing. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I could put a face to a lot of the people in this chat is because of Tom. You know what I mean? Like, because Tom goes out there and he puts out into the world the image of what goes on in front of those courthouses and the support that takes place. That is a big deal. That is not to be minimized or blown off, in my opinion. I mean, right. And I get the temptation. You know what I mean? Like, you see that guy and everything that he's done, like, and then, you know, he goes and sticks a camera in the face of a woman who everyone believes is going through already hell. And then you've got a pest like Grant getting in her face. You're going to instinctively come to her defense if you already see that she's already, you know, if you already believe in your heart that she's being victimized, that she's being harassed, she's being framed for murder of her own boyfriend. You know, like, if you are passionate about how wrong it is, then you're going to come to her defense instinctively. You know, it's not like Tom went and hit him over the fucking head. You know, he went behind him with a camera and got Grant to like whine about colonitis. Like, I thought it was fucking hilarious. I'm sorry, I thought it was. You know, I'm not, and again, I'm not encouraging him to do it. You know, I'm not saying, you know, like I was laughing about it and going, "This is the most fucking stupidest shit I've ever seen." You know, because it was fucking dumb, but it was funny. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's not like he went up and assaulted the guy, dude. Like he just, you know, just wasn't that big a deal to me. That's all I'm saying. Grant is a doofus. I mean, and we're all dorks, man. We all have our fucking moments where we're just fucking dorks, dude. Like, it is what it is. You know, sometimes our shit is like, you know, sometimes like, you know, we get so involved in these things that we let our emotions dictate our actions sometimes, man. And it's, you know, it just makes us human. It just means that we care, you know. Now it's not like I said, it's not like he went over the line and like, you know, smashed his knee with a fucking nightstick. You know what I mean? Like he just fucking made a joke about his fucking asshole bleeding, dude. Like, it's not that serious. I'm not gonna replay it. No, I'm not gonna do that. Like, it's on yesterday's stream. You can watch my reaction. I'm not gonna take it down. You know, you can watch it. But I'm not gonna replay it, you know. Like I said, like I'm not trying to like condone it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it was the right thing to do. I'm just saying I get it. I understand it. And I'm not gonna like minimize Tom's character to the guy who fucking made the movement look fucking bad. You know, like, give me a fucking break, dude. Please get out of my face with that shit. That's all I'm saying. Seriously, like, that's all I'm saying. Tom, I'm not gonna play it. And here I am. Yeah, you know why I'm talking about it? Because I talk about whatever the fuck I want. Like I do. I talk about whatever the fuck I want. That is, it's. I encourage everyone with a channel to do it. It's liberating. It's great. Why the fuck do you think I'm passionate about this case? Because I like being able to talk about whatever the fuck I want. I like everyone being allowed and feeling comfortable to talk about whatever the fuck they want. Right. Turtle Boy's sitting in jail right now, so I can sit up here and talk about whatever the fuck I want. I'm not going to squander that shit. I got too much respect. I mean, it is funny, but like, y'all can go watch it. I'm not. Yeah, I'm actually gonna call it a night. Got cut off on the last stream at 2 hours. I usually do 3 hours, so I just did an hour here. So I am gonna call it. And then I don't know. We'll talk again tomorrow. I don't even know if I'm even gonna go over. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to go over that 300-page document. That's fucking insane. I mean, I'm going to read it, but am I going to do fucking live streams on? I might. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I might do live streams on it and read it. But like, I every time there's a paragraph, I have an opinion on it, and then I rant about it for like 20 minutes. But Yeah, I mean, dude, it's 300 fucking pages. I don't know. I'll try to thumb through it, and if I see any like bullet points that I want to go over, then I'll do that. But dude, you guys want me to do fucking like it's not gonna be worth it. By the time I get through live streams, like genuine live streams where I'm speaking my opinion and following every thought and expressing every thought that comes to mind, by the time I finish doing that, trial would have started. You know what I mean? Like the motion, that shit'll put me past the 26th. 300 pages. I'll be doing live streams every night on this opposition until the fucking no. I'm not doing that. You guys are crazy. Y'all are fucking crazy. Yeah, like I'll pick through the cliff notes, dude, and then like if I see something that I need to fucking rant about, then I'll talk about it. But I'm not. Yeah, y'all are crazy. You think I'm just gonna spend the next fucking like 2 weeks reading a fucking 300-page document in 3-hour fucking segments? All right. Dude, whatever. It's a lot. Oh, man. It's sure as shit. Dude, it said 301 pages when I looked at it. Now, it could be a bunch of is just a bunch, but 300 pages of what? No, this shit is 300 pages. Don't tell me it's not. I had it up. All right. Guys, I love you very much. You guys are fucking fantastic. I appreciate kicking it with you, man. And those of you who enjoy the channel, man, I am really, really grateful to you guys for that. And for those of you who don't, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I've disappointed you. But happy trails. Anyways, guys, thanks for everything. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. Thanks for the support. Appreciate you guys. And we will do this again very soon, my friends.